few things inside, like the countertops, shelving, carpet, and the hardwood floors still need to be finished. But that's where we are.
And
Okay.
who is your builder?
Oh, Trust Builder.
Oh, trust. All right.
Yes,
And do you have stuff done? Were you anticipating a generator? Do you have anything done with the generator at all?
we do. We had them put in the gas line, the electricity, and the transfer switch.
Okay.
Now, when you say transfer switch, did they put a whole house transfer switch in or a portable transfer switch?
Whole house.
Okay. Is that a 200 amp or 400 amp? You know?
I don't know that.
Okay.
Sean.
Hi,
Sean?
yeah, yes, I'm here. So, yeah, we're, I'm building in Southern Pines. I'm actually gonna move in my stuff next week, so, you know, I'm pretty much done. So we do have a generator. It's in the yard. I think it's gonna be installed on Friday. You know, my primary interest is just to hear about generators, because I don't really know much about them. So I'm interested to hear what, you know, how they work, what size you recommend, and all that stuff. Might be too late for me to change that, but at least I'll know more about how it works.
Yeah. Who'd you get your generator from?
I can't tell you that. I don't know.
Was it the builder?
Yeah, Southern Pines.
Okay.
So
that's fine.
they hired somebody. I'm not sure who that is yet. So I'll find
Okay.
out.
What's the builder's name there? The guy?
Ted Kennedy.
Ted Kennedy. Okay.
Right.
Okay, Sean.
Yes. Pretty much we just started the foundation stuff, work and all that good stuff. Just that's pretty much where we are now. I mean, there's nothing other than that. We do have a generator added in our package. And we were with Southern Pines.
Okay.
Okay, Linda Lee.
And it's going to be the Gen Rack.
Oh, Generac.
Yep. Yep.
So we are also with Southern Pines with Ted, and I don't believe we've had our lot cleared yet, although it's should be like any day.
Okay.
Alice.
Hey, this is John and Alice. We're going with Southern Pines. We haven't even talked to Ted just yet about pretty much anything other than an initial conversation about a year ago. So definitely interested in generator top to hear what goes on with it as well, just to understand, since we've never had one either.
So
Thank
you guys are looking like around our time frame too, probably what, like 24-ish, like in another year or two?
Yeah, June, July 2024.
Okay. Vicky.
Hey, we are building with Trust, and we have our walls up, or the framing and the roof's on. Woo, it looks like a house. But we're already be there next week for our electrical walkthrough.
Okay.
We did ask to have the transfer switch and the gas and whatever else you need.
Okay.
200 amp.
A 200 amp.
Okay.
So I don't know if we're down there, should we contact you or?
Yeah, I'd love to come over and see where you're at on your lot, talk about where we put it. That's what
Okay.
I'll explain that in just a few minutes, what I would do.
Okay.
Each of you, if you want me to come down there and talk to you.
Okay,
That'd be
great, thanks.
Kathleen.
Hey, I am with Kent Builders, our home. I'm hoping Bob Conger is still online so he can tell me if the slab is done. Because I don't know. And we are putting in a service for a 50 amp. Not the whole house, just a remote or smaller generator.
All right.
Bill. Mr. Shanahan. You're on mute, Bill. You need to unmute yourself. Oh, technology.
We put all this security on our computers, so. we
I
can't
know,
do it.
it's terrible. It's terrible.
There we go.
There you are.
Finally, sorry, folks. I fumble around a little bit here. I have a spinal cord injury, so you got to bear with me a little bit.
No worry.
Yeah, the fingers don't work quite right all the time. Yeah, we just signed with Hey Good Homes. And, we're 2024, January. As far as a generator, I had a generator at my old house. I put it in here as was a 17,000 watt Generac. Soon as I put it in, the power didn't go off for the next 5 years. So
Yeah, there you go.
I hope it's not a sign for you guys here. So
Yeah.
I wish you all good luck with it. Here I'm thinking of putting one in, obviously.
This
here,
is
so,
true. We
yeah.
never lost power again.
Well, you're our lucky charm, guys. You know what? I mean, that would be my greatest love would be, to put it in and never, and it's
never turn it on.
and it's so wonderful to see you guys here. So, so welcome. We're really glad to have you, and congratulations on choosing your builder. That's awesome. And so welcome.
Thank you.
So Marvels.
We're at lot 180. We're looking at the same as a lot of, we're looking at 2024, May, June, July move-in time. And we're looking at 3 builders, Southern Pines, Trust, and as of right now, also Bill Clark. So we are trying to make a decision here by December, January. And we're definitely going to get a whole house generator, we think, just from some of the conversations, we think, so.
Yeah.
Okay. Napoli's.
We signed with AR and it looks like they'll be breaking ground in March of 23. And we intend to move in the fall of 24. That's our goal.
It's going to be a really big party, guys. 24 is going to be, I got to tell you, we're just going to have one huge party in 24.
Yeah, there's a lot of people coming.
Yeah. Michael, I know where you're going to be. Randall.
Hello. Yeah, we're building with Hey Good Homes. We have an appointment to come down in January for our selections. Hoping to break ground in March or so. And guess what? Moving in early to mid 24.
There we go. Hey, Mayor.
Hey, Robin. Hi, you can't see me, but I'm Mayor Glenn. We are getting ready to start building with Trust. We expect to break ground in about 30 days. It's Trust, and we have made no plans or arrangements or anything for a generator. So I was really glad to hear that we were going to have this conversation, because it's definitely something I want to consider, because I will still be working when we move down. And obviously I need internet, and it needs to be on all the time.
Okay. And last but not least, the Brackens.
Hello, we're on lot 201 with Southern Pines. We are probably 4 weeks or so from moving in. So we're getting really close. We do have a full house generator coming. It's Generac, but I don't know the status of anything other than that. It's not been delivered yet. So.
Okay.
I thought it's in the garage.
Okay, so
did I hear from Randall Race? Did I have that name? Or did I just make up a name?
It's Randy and Nadine Race.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
I had you two
Randy and
different-
Nadine. We're gonna be neighbors, Randy and Nadine.
Oh,
The Johnsons right across the street from you.
oh, okay,
Oh,
great.
yeah. Maybe down a couple, but almost across.
What's your
Yeah.
lot number?
448.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect.
So you're on the other side,
Yeah, we're on the riverside.
on the riverside. Yeah.
Yeah.
very cool. So Now, anybody has, oh yeah, so, and Dan, you know me. So, and Michael comes along with me. So, would you, all right, you don't come along with me. Okay, Michael, would you like to share?
After you speak, Robin, there is nothing left to share.
Oh, all right, go ahead.
All right, but just, hi, Dan, nice to meet you.
Nice meeting you.
So Robin and I are building with AR Homes. She probably already told you, but just for the, so the crowd hears us, we're still waiting to break ground. We're waiting for the road to be finished. And the latest status is they're ready to start laying curb. So we still don't know what that means. They were ready to do curb back in August. And so we think if the road gets done, maybe they can break ground in, say, December timeframe. And if things start to go up, I know that a guy like you is going to want to visit the job site probably around rough-in time, and that rough-in time hopefully will be in the spring. You know, so that's all we know.
All right. Well, what I like to do, one is qualify everything. First of all, I own Generator Supercenter. Okay, we are the largest dealer in this area. We do over 100 generators a month. Not only do we sell generators, we install the generators, we service the generators. It's an important part of this discussion as we go about what all we can do. But I want to tell you, preference it to you, I'm very biased on everybody having a generator. Okay. With that said, I'm going to tell you, please, if you're thinking of not getting a generator, do a little research. Duke Utilities has their own website here that actually shows you the outages that Duke experiences here. So you can, at any given day, just pull up Duke Power and look at their outage charts. You can see what they look like during storms and things like that, and really having a great idea whether you'd be impacted a lot by the storm scenario that we have. The great thing about Wilmington, North Carolina, and really inland as well, is we get several storms. Everybody talks about hurricanes, but it's really not just hurricanes, it's nor'easters. You know, you guys up in New York, in that area, if you're on the East Coast, you know about these things. But you get the nor'easters coming in, you get strong wind by itself, knocking our poles down, and then hurricane. Everything here is pretty much above ground. We've all lived in neighborhoods with underground utilities. I lived in one as well called River Bluffs, all underground utility, but it just was in our neighborhood. Right outside of our neighborhood is where the lines came into the ground. So it really didn't help us because it wasn't all the way from the node to us. It was just from the outer of the neighborhood to getting into the neighborhood. So we still had a lot of issues with our power. Matter of fact, my power in River Bluffs, and this is, I think y'all have Bob Conger there now. That used to be in River Bluffs. He can attest to it. Our power went off a lot, and we had different segments within our neighborhood, but each one would go off at different times. There's a fallacy of believing that if you're near a hospital, you're going to get on faster. That's not really how it works. But everybody, and if you're from North Carolina, you'll know not only do we get those summer storms and stuff things, but we also get ice storms. So it really doesn't get, you're not going to get snow here. If you do, it's a fluke, you know, it's once every 15-year fluke. But what we do get is ice storms. So we get cold enough, freezing rain comes down, gets on all the power lines. And that's where more I get a lot of people talking about the generator saying, look, I don't mind being hot, but I sure don't want to be cold. And, you know, most of us are building these houses. I did the same thing. They said, oh, there's a fireplace. I thought I could use it for heat. You can't use them for heat. They just don't, you'll be within inches of that thing trying to get warm unless you paid for some kind of very extravagant fireplace, but most of them don't put out the heat. But I wanted to go through a process, and the reason I had a screen share that I wanted to show you. And then I'm really, it's just ask me questions as we go. But I want to show you some things that I would do if I came out and talked to you about a generator, our process, and then getting questions from you about that process. And so hopefully answer everything that you have about generators before we get in. And the first thing I'd want to talk about is I'm going to share my screen now. Hopefully this is sharing it. Okay, y'all still see me?
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right, great. Do y'all see the PowerPoint as well?
Yes.
Okay. So the first question I always get is, how does it work? And, you know, there's some people that really, like, I heard a couple people say they had generators before. This is going to be elementary to you, but other people, we don't understand how it works. Right now you have a meter on your house, going to have a meter from a utility company. And today that meter comes in and it actually feeds the your breaker box that's in your garage. In most cases, it's going to be in your garage while your new house being built. And what we're doing is we're going to put a transfer switch right in the middle of that. So we're going to put one right outside the meter. It'll probably backfeed into your panel. If it's a back-to-back situation, if your meter is back-to-back with your panel of the garage. And what happens is the transfer switch is checking to see all the time if you have utility power. The moment you lose utility power, the transfer switch sends a signal to the generator that the house has lost power. The generator kicks on. It's going to run for about 5 seconds to 7 seconds. And then it's going to make the switch over to your house and take over the utility where the utility was. So from the time the power goes out in your house to the time you have generator power is about 12 seconds total. Okay, and you'll be up and running. The whole house generators power everything. So I tell everybody, don't try to cheat the system. Just live in your house like you normally do. You know, don't go around trying to shut off lights or turn things. There's no need for it. That generator is going to run everything in your house that you need to run, okay, or that you want to run. That includes your air conditioners, everything else. It will run your heat pumps and your air handlers. What it has, some of them, people get away with it all the time, but the disclaimer from Generac is it won't run the heat strips within the unit. So doesn't mean you won't get heat, you'll get heat, but those heat strips sometimes in the, you know, if you're on your thermostat up north, you probably know it very well, the emergency heat, that's what it won't run, but it'll run the heat pump and all that. And down here in the south, you normally never have that emergency heat ever kick on. Okay. So anybody have any questions about how it works? Okay. The other thing that I want to
What
talk
are the
about,
different sizes? As far as do you size it based on the square footage of the house or the number of
Yeah,
people, the number of rooms? How do you size them?
yeah, so I'm going to show you that in a couple of slides. I'll show that definition, how we do the load calc for the house. Okay. So this slide actually shows the minimum generator distances. And really it's pretty easy. Generac has a rating on it, a fire rating on it that allows it to be within 18 inches of your house. So we can put it next to your side of your house up to 18 inches. And that's the back of the generator. Then the sides and the front, we have to have 3 foot clearance. So please don't build any fences before we put a generator in, because you're going to have 3 foot clearances all the way around that generator. Okay, to pass code down here. You're also got to be 5 feet away from any operable window. So an operable window is, if we're talking about a garage window and we can seal that one window in the garage, then we can get away with that. Okay. But if it's something that you want to open and close all the time and we cannot seal that window, then you got to be 5 feet away from that window. Okay. And the same,
Dan?
yes.
Hey, Dan,
Mhm.
what if it's a doorway, like, say we have a door going out the side of our garage and the generator's within proximity?
So the garage door is considered a non-living area, so they're gonna let us get away with that, believe it or not. It's kind of weird. The window doesn't, but the garage door does. And I haven't been called on it. Now, I will say there's some communities, New Hanover is not one of them, but there's some communities around here that would tell us, hey, that's still, to us, that's a living area. And again, inspectors can see their own way around things, and we have to abide by whatever they tell us in that township or in that county. But New Hanover County, where you're gonna be, we can get away with that. The other thing is, if you have any overhangs, okay, the overhang, we gotta have at least 5 feet for any overhang, putting a generator. So if you just kind of think of that 3 and 5 foot rule, so it's 3 foot around the generator and 5 feet from any windows and doors, stuff like that, it's really gonna do what you need to do.
What about distance from an AC unit?
3 feet,
3 feet.
yeah. Yeah, anything, well, bushes, anything 3 feet.
And we're Brunswick County, are we not?
Yeah,
the
Brunswick,
bluffs?
sorry, you are Brunswick.
Okay.
So 3 feet. Any other questions on that? And a lot of other generators can't get within 18 inches of the house. Generac just asked that. Other generators usually have to be 5 feet from the house. So y'all have natural gas out there, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Yes.
so.
Yes, we do.
So one of the things that I would ask, if you're gonna get a stub out for your natural gas, get it at least 5 feet away from where the generator is gonna be. Okay, I know the common sense thing says, hey, I want it right behind where the generator is gonna be, because I don't want to see any piping whatsoever. Unfortunately, it doesn't allow us to get the gas pressure we need from the regulator at that point. And so that's on about 80% of repairs that we go to that we did not install. The issue ends up being how the gas, whether it's propane or natural gas, is installed into that generator. And so
why does it stub out?
a stub out is just the pipe that the builder will leave out for us to connect to for the natural gas.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and if you have your natural gas on the same side as your meter, if you're going to put the generator on the same side as you do at your gas meter, you don't even need to pay for a stub out from the builder.
Okay.
Just have the meter there. We'd rather tag off that meter anyway. And another thing with natural gas, is talk to your builders about a 2 PSI meter. Okay, they'll want to put in a water column meter, but in the end of the day, the water column is not going to give us the volume that we need to keep the generator flowing. So 2 PSI meter is what you want to ask for from the builder.
Should most builders know this that's down there? Since
Okay.
I guess that's no.
No, we're fixing mistakes every day. So there's, some of these builders I'm very familiar with. I'm very familiar with Trust, of course. We do business with them. We do Bill Clark Homes. We do their homes. I think Hey Good, we've done some of their homes, so they might know it. The one that y'all got me stumped on is Southern Pines. That's why I was asking you who that person is that owns Southern Pines, because I feel like I know them, but I don't know them unless I know them by another name. But
No, just Ted Kennedy.
yeah. But anybody have any questions about gas? Okay, so that's the first thing that we normally do is we come out to your house and we're just going to walk around. We have a mat that we put on the ground that's the size of the generator and the concrete slab that we're going to put down for that generator. And we'd walk around and the first thing we would do is make sure that we all agree that that generator can be placed in an area that works for you, works for your neighborhood association, and works for the inspectors. That's the number one thing. Second one is we're always looking at the natural gas and how we can get that supply into there, making sure it looks good. You know, you can really do an ugly job or just take a few extra minutes and do a beautiful job. And that's what we're all about. So we take that time to make sure you're happy with both of those things before we even go to the next step. And that next step is that what size of generator do you need? Okay. So this is this is what we call a load count that we do. It's approved by all the jurisdictions on the East Coast from 95 East. So we're good with using this. And what we do is we calculate it based upon your square foot of your house, but then also what appliances you have. And this is where everybody gets a little squirrely because they say, oh, you know, I'm only going to use one refrigerator, but I have 3. Well, you got to tell me you got 3 refrigerators. Let me figure out how we can make that generator work. And if anybody's going to do any kind of load shedding or load managing, but let me do that and not you. So it's not that much more to have me go ahead and do the whole house compared to doing just partial of the house. And so one of the things that we do is we calculate the AC. I don't know if I got a pin here I can click on. Does that work if I do something like that? But I got a pin on the AC up here. Well, I made it yellow, just like my thing. So that's very good. Let me see here, make it red. So up here where you see the AC, you'll see that I have an X next to it. And what that means is that I'm managing the ACs. We do this on every house. I don't care how big a generator you buy from me, I'm going to put a management device on the AC. And all that means back in, 10 years ago, I'd have to choose either that AC is on your house or we're going to load shed it, one or the other. Now we have great wireless management devices that measures the hertz in your house. And what it does is it tells me if you're running your wash machine, your dryer, your dishwasher, and your hot water heater is going off, that the AC is going to wait a second before it comes on. That's all it does. As soon as it has enough power to come on, that AC will come on. And so it's not load shedding anything, it's just managing that circuit. And we can do that with any of the other circuits that you have. So if you have a pool and you want to, just, hey, Dan, I don't want to power that pool during the hurricane. Let's just manage it. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't, right? So let me manage it. That way it's still on there. So if for some reason you're not using the other power, all those other things I just mentioned, your pool will come on, keep your water from turning green, right? So let's just manage everything. So that's what this load calc does. And that's really what gets us down to the generator size. And it really depends, liquid propane actually burns hotter. So if I, in this scenario, if you had a propane as your source, you'd only need a 22 kW. But using natural gas, because it doesn't burn as hot, you need a 24 kW. Okay. And again, this is just a mock-up, so don't think this pertains really to your house. We want to come out and really go through what you need, or talk to you on the phone. We can do that over the phone as well. If you just want to say, hey, Dan, I'd like to do a load calc with you, and just give me a call and we'll do one. My office staff can do it. I can do it. It doesn't matter. Okay. Anybody have any questions about the load count? Also, the other thing I want to mention, I know some of y'all already have it with your builders and so on. Here's what I'm going to tell you. just make sure that the person that's doing your generator is a Generac certified rep, okay, dealer, installer. Okay, if they're not, when you go collect on that warranty, I don't care if they give it to you and say, hell, here's a 10-year warranty. When I have to come out and service your unit, Generac's going to ask me who installed that unit. Okay, and there's always, if it's a major thing, I should say, if it's a small thing, Generac might not catch it. If your motor's gone, if your stator's not working, something bigger, it's going to get down to where did it get installed by a certified installer? And if it didn't, they're not going to pay that 10-year, they're not going to honor that 10-year warranty. Okay, so I want to let everybody know that, because this is what happens to us, because most people that are installed generators around here do not service generators. So then it's on us going out to that customer and telling them that it can't be done. And sometimes those parts and those pieces are very close to what they paid for the generator. So that's the problem. So make sure that there are licensed electricians, of course. Make sure they're plumbers that are hooking it up, not just some guy working on the house that's hooking up the gas. Make sure it is a gas plumber that knows what he's doing, because the number one cause, I think I mentioned it earlier, of these generators not running well for a long period of time is the gas. So they usually are a $35 cheap regulator, or they don't have it piped right. Those are the two problems with gas usually. Okay. And I can tell you from experience, our regulators, my costs are somewhere about $125 a piece. So there's a difference between a $35 regulator and a $125 regulator. Also, as I mentioned before, they should be able to service. If they install it, they should be able to service it. Okay.
You also sell the portable generators, 50 amp, for somebody who's not doing a full house?
We do not, and I'll speak to that a little bit. We don't get into the portable business, and I'll tell you why. Is because they require gasoline, they require the oil. The problem with people is they'll run it the one time, they'll never do maintenance on it, and then it ends up being just a brick. And then people bring it to me and say, I've only had this thing for 2 years. I want to return it or whatever. Or they buy it right before the storm and they want to return it. That's the Lowe's thing, right? Go to Lowe's, buy a generator, put it in the back of your truck, wait till the storm goes back, take it back. So we don't do that. I will tell you that probably I don't know how much you end up paying for that 50 amp dedicated service and everything else. We could have probably put for a few $100s more, a whole house transfer switch in for you. And then you could have still ran the portables doing that. You'd have to, we probably have to put in a little breaker switch on the inside to know which breakers to turn off before you run it. But, with those 50 amps, you will not be able to run your air conditioning at all. And so, or your heat pump with that. And so if you try to do that, I can assure you, you'll most likely burn out your AC unit, your heat pump. They're just not big enough to carry that load. And it's not the running amps. And I'm sorry if I'm getting technical, but once your air conditioner is up and running, it can run it because it's got enough amps to do it. But what it doesn't have is enough amps to get it started. The running amps on an AC unit is much higher than the 50 amp that's going to be able to do that.
All right, so you're going to be leaving your point of contact information on this PowerPoint presentation, so I can call you and tell you what the builder is installing?
Yes. Yep.
Since we're early in the stages.
Yes.
So guys, you'll see also, I left it in the chat. So it is in the chat, and I'll make sure that it's saved as well. And I'll also put it in the email when I send everybody the recording. So you won't have to worry about that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
But that's the main points I really want to get across to do that. Now, I know everybody's asking, hey, what are the prices? What do we do? And so on. So pricing, as you know, we had the same price for about 4 years, never moved our price up. This last year, we moved prices up. Okay. I think that's probably not a surprise to anybody, but I got hit with 4 Generac price increases, all within a couple of months of each other. So they're trying to figure it out too, as you can tell by their stock price, that they obviously didn't get the price increases out fast enough, but we all got them. So right now, what we're doing is, most of you are going to probably fit in that 22 or 24 kW area. And those are going to run somewhere that 13.5 to 13.9 area. And that includes everything. Now, that includes the gas, plumbing, that includes all the electrical, any digging, anything that we got to do. We do, when we come and install a generator, it's all inclusive. So it's one phone call, we do everything for that. So we don't mess around. And what I did for River Bluffs, and this is probably why Bob got involved in this too, is what I did for River Bluffs, and I still do to this day, is I give that neighborhood $1,000 discount, okay, coming through to us. So I do that. So if you see any other specials from me, they're not included. They're just, it's $1,000 right off the bottom. It's the same thing I do for Costco. So if you're a Costco member, you would get $1,000 Costco card from Costco, but you basically you're getting $1,000 off from me. So that's how that works.
So is
Okay.
Generac the only manufacturer that you sell?
Yeah, so let me speak to that a little bit. So I can sell any product I want to sell. The choice is really in this area that we can get is there's a Kohler out here. There's Kohler, Briggs and Stratton's, Generac, and Cummins. Those are really the 4 generators that are in the market today. Cummins is, I'm going to just tell you right now, it's a byproduct for them. They may carry it this year for the last year and not carry it next year. I really don't know. The Cummins rep doesn't even know. You know, he knows that he's just like a little niche within Cummins, and they haven't really made a choice about anything. Kohler is a good generator. We work on them all the time. I say Kohler is one of the better generators out there. The problem with Kohler is can't get parts. They just do not have enough dealers in the area, enough to be able to find parts. And when do you need your part? When it's a storm, your power's out and your generator's not working. You know, that's when we're looking for parts. And Kohler is just hard to find parts. Briggs and Stratton. All right, we'll just skip Briggs and Stratton. We work on them. They've made me a rich man. You do it. They just don't even have around here after Florence. They lost their skins. Even they just couldn't even take the wind. Amount of wind coming through would blow them off. 150 mile an hour winds, 130 mile an hour winds. They lost the outer structure of them. But we also had problems with them mechanically on the electronics portion. I chose Generac. One is because, as you know, there's a lot of dealers. You can go on to generac.com and look at dealers in your area if you want to know how many dealers. So you can just type in your zip code, type in Wilmington, and you're going to see the dealers in your area. And you'll see us up, we're at the top because we're the largest dealer by far, and you'll see all the credentials we have compared to the rest. But those are dealers that when there's a storm, if we don't have the part and Generac can't get me that part, those are the dealers I'm calling to try to get those parts too. Okay, because they give me a lot. I have a lot of options then to find those parts to get your generator up and running again. And so parts are really readily available. And, we got a warehouse full of them ourselves. So unless it's something that's just so crazy that broke that we just don't know what it is. So, we don't keep engines in stock. So that gives you an idea if an engine goes out or something. But the rest of it, we pretty much have. The other thing is they're purpose built. The force engines and these air cools, the reason they got a 10-year warranty on them, and that's a bumper to bumper warranty that you can buy. Okay. It's an extra, but you can buy it. But that 10-year warranty is because they're a purpose built engine. They'll run 4 to 5 days before they shut down on low oil. And then it only takes a half a quart of oil to get that thing running another 4 days before it shuts down again for low oil. So they're made to run that way 24/7. And we don't have problems with them running long-term like that. And that's again, Generac makes that engine and they make it here in America. So a lot of people say, oh no, it's a foreign engine. It is not. They make it right here. I've been to their factory. So that's what they do. Okay. Any other questions?
Well, yes, I guess that if you're making an investment of, $13,000 to $15,000, and you're talking about getting parts, what is the reliability of the Generac generator? I mean, what typically do you see?
It's a 20 to 30 year appliance is what I tell people. That's what we see out there. And most of the 20, if you think about it, anything really over 10 years old right now probably has steel surrounds around it. Like the outside of it is steel, not powder coated aluminum like it is today, which is actually a better quality product. And the only thing we run across on most cases is rust issues. So even, if you got to maintain them though, and I'm going to talk about that service part of it. One of the things that if you don't service this thing, and you got to service it, I'm going to say minimum once a year. We do it twice a year as part of our agreement. And we do everything in our service agreement. So we just don't do oil changes, air filter changes, and that kind of basic stuff as well. But we also included in our maintenance program, we also do valve adjustments on the generator. And the reason for that is because about every 100 hours, the first 100 anyway, they want a valve adjustment done. Most people want to charge about $295 just for that. We put that as part of our service because we want your generator running. We don't want you to say, oh, don't do that now because I don't want to spend that money right now. We want to make sure that generator is running. So we include everything that we think has to be done to that generator as part of our service agreement. Okay. Part of our service agreement also includes, we put a cellular monitor on there. So we're monitoring that generator 24/7. You'll have an app on your phone that's going to show you what it does as well. And that's all included in that service agreement. The other thing that we do is on the East Coast here, we run these things every week. Okay. So it's going to start up. It's not going to switch power to your house. It is just going to start up and run and do a test for us. And so every week you'll get a report showing up that tells you how it tested. Did everything work right? Everything do well? The only thing it doesn't test is the transfer to your home. So did it transfer power to your home? And that's why we come out the second time for the services, is that we're going to fake an outage on your house so we can see if it transfers power and gets that power to your house. But maintenance is a big deal with all of these. You got to remember that the stator or I forget what else you call it, that generates the power on these things to your home is just a bunch of copper wires coiled around a magnet, right? That's what's creating the power. So everybody knows copper wires, what happens? They get a little rusty, right? They start turning vertigrade and stuff. Great conductor, the best conductor money can buy, but you got to maintain it. And so that's what we do as part of our maintenance program. We make sure that those are maintained. Okay. And just so
how
you
much is
know,
the average maintenance plan?
so the maintenance plan for the air-cooled units is $37 a month. It's $444 a year if you're trying to do the math on that. It's $444 a year for the plan. And that's us, like I said, coming out twice a year doing that. The other thing with our plan is that you can buy the extended warranties. Let me throw what else comes in. I'm sorry. So part of our maintenance program, by the way, that pays for itself in a way, is the generators come out of the package to you with a 5-year limited warranty, which is basically 2 years bumper to bumper, and then 3 years parts. Okay, basically how that works out. When you sign up for our service program, we automatically put you at a 5-year bumper to bumper. Okay. Now you can buy an additional 2 years at our cost. We sell everything at our cost if you're a maintenance program for our warranties. It's $495 for a 7-year or $695 if you want to extend it to a 10-year. Okay. And I think a 10-year is just a no-brainer. I mean, it's a bumper to bumper warranty, covers everything. So the only thing it doesn't cover, let me inject, is the battery. Okay. So there is a battery that you would have to probably after about year 3 or 4, you might have to buy. Today, our battery pricing is $103. And we put it in free for our service agreement customers.
Dan, is that cellular monitoring module unique to Generac?
Yeah, pretty well. There's other ones called OmniMetrics. We used them in the past. We switched over to Generac's Gen Monitor program. And theirs comes, by the way, free Wi-Fi. So if you bought this and you just had it installed, you'd have a Wi-Fi version and you'd have to pay, I think it's something like a, don't quote me to it, but it might be like a $90 a year to use the Wi-Fi monitor. I can't remember because I haven't installed it in so long, but we put on a cellular monitor. So we actually have to purchase this monitor from Generac and we put it in the system. And the reason why is because the Wi-Fi monitors, guess what? They don't work if your power's out. And if your power's out and I'm looking at all the generators in a storm trying to figure out who we need to send text to, your Wi-Fi doesn't tell me anything. It just says, they lost their Wi-Fi. So with the cellular monitors, I can tell everybody that's up and running that shows no utility power, but their generator's running. And it'll flag me if somebody doesn't have utility power and their generator is not running. It flags us at the office so we know where to send our texts.
What about if the cell tower is out?
Well, there's always exceptions, but I've been through about 4 or 5 major storms, nor'easters and hurricanes, and that's never happened yet to us.
Okay, thanks.
So with us, the Brackens, we're further along and everything I'm assuming has been purchased. So does that matter in terms of us getting a service agreement with you guys?
It does not. It does not.
Okay.
Like I said, we do service on units that somebody calls me and says their unit's 20 years old. We go out there and we inspect it and put a service agreement on it.
Okay, great.
Now, your cost that you had the slide before, when we met with some builders and we asked them, we want to pretty much do a whole house generator, and they would give us a cost for getting the wiring and all that hooked up. Is that part of your cost there, or is that over and above?
Yeah, so that's all included in that. And matter of fact, if you already have the transfer switch on your house, okay, so somebody's already installed the 200, somebody on here already told me they did. They had the 200 amp transfer switch installed. Then we give you get $2,500 off of that to start with. Okay. So that's what we kind of rebate. I know the builders should be around 25. Some of them are 2,000. It goes back and forth what they charge. And that's only if they wired it all correctly, everything's done right. Okay. I went to a home the other day. It's actually a good friend of mine. He was in River Bluffs neighborhood. He moved over to Newport. He calls me and he says, Dan, I need a price on a generator. I said, great, you're a buddy. I'm going to give you the same thing, $1,000 off this deal. Let's get it rolling. He says, oh, I got a 200 amp transfer switch. I said, great, I'm going to discount $2,500. You know, that's probably what you paid to get it in. I get there and it's a transfer switch that somebody screwed into his wall of his house, not a wire to it anywhere.
Oh.
And so that is not $2,500 off.
Good try.
But he was as shocked as I was. So, you know, when we got there, my guys were all ready to install. They thought, oh, easy, we're going to get this done in 4 or 5 hours and we'll be out of here. And that wasn't the case.
So when our builders told us an X amount of price, and if we went with you, we would just subtract that from our, we would just know that we wouldn't deal with that. Let them know we're going with somebody else, going with your company. And if it's trust, they would know you, or if it's Bill Clark,
Yep.
they would know you.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Okay. And there was something else.
Dan, what kind of lead time, do you have any kind of lead time that you need if, as far as getting equipment, or, you have is there a wait time?
Well, the good news is we carry about $2 million worth of inventory at any given time. So we never have inventory issues. The bad news is that the closest we get is about 6 to 8 weeks. Okay. Again, that's coming about this time of year, getting that. And so by the time, next May hits, that might be 10 to 14 weeks, and so on. But normally we're six to 8 weeks is what we try to be at, but it does blow up. I mean, there's some months that, in the summer, we might get 200 generators or something. We gotta do. So.
And what kind of, who do you need to, because I know a lot of us are building these houses from far away. Not everybody is nearby. If we are, sometimes the builders don't want to be responsible for managing anything. They don't let anybody on. Is that something that once we, do you need to have somebody actually there? Does somebody need to be on site when you're installing this? Like what is the requirement for your staff to be able to install something like this?
Okay, and you're exactly right. Some builders are just very, I don't want anybody here. It's my electrician. He's going to run his permit, and we don't want them confused. And that's fine. We get right up there. So what happens is, what we want to do is get ready to install your generator the day after you get your what's it called in building terms?
Occupancy.
Yeah, your occupancy
CO.
certificate. The day you get that, we want to get in there and install that generator. So what we do is we just plan that, and it's really easy with new construction, because usually you're already, if you give me, and say, hey, Dan, I want to go with you, and we got the agreement and everything's done, then what's going to happen is we're going to call you and say, hey, we're ready to install. And you're going to say, hey, my house isn't even built yet. I need another 3 months. Then what we do is we just keep asking you for that day. What day did they tell you you're going to close? Right? And so you're always first in line. So it's not like you have to wait afterwards.
Okay, perfect.
Because nobody gets down. Once you're at the top of the list, you stay at the top of the list. You don't get reshuffled. Okay.
So Dan, when do you come out? So if, we just are having our lot cleared, when is it appropriate to have you come out to do the inspection and tell us where it goes and blah, blah, blah?
So when your walls are up.
Okay.
Okay. So when your walls are up and you kind of know where you're going to have the electrical, they already told you where they're going to put the electrical breaker box.
Okay,
and we know that, then we can start already looking at where to put that generator.
okay. Thank you.
Dan,
Yes.
Dan, I think you may have touched on this. If I've spent my last dime on making my kitchen beautiful and I don't have enough for a generator right now,
Yeah.
what do I have to do? Do I just tell the builder, please just rough it in? Or do I have to have you involved in it from the earliest point on?
Well, let me ask you this. Are you going to have, like, is your breaker box directly behind where the meter is going to be? Or do you have it in some bedroom somewhere or some other place around the house? Or is it in the garage?
I know there's a whole house switch that's just off of the garage, but I'm not sure where the actual box is.
Yeah, so that whole house switch that's going in, that's what we're going to be tapping into. So that tells you right there, we're good with it. So we can come in after the fact, no problem,
Okay.
as long as they have that breaker. So that's good for your builder. Who is your builder again?
It's Haygood.
Okay, because he's 1 year ahead of himself on the code, so that's awesome.
Oh, great,
Yeah.
good. Yeah, because when I did it here for the old house, I had to pay, I don't know how many thousands of dollars here, to get the whole box ready, for this
Yeah.
whole process. Yeah,
Yeah, so we'll be able to come in after the fact and just kind of tap in from that, and that's where the transfer switch will sit.
okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Anybody else have any other questions?
Just real quick, it's Mary. You mentioned, talking about the $2,500 if there is a transfer switch, or it's just $1,000 if you're part of, what you do for everybody at River Bluffs, but we're not River Bluffs, we're just the Bluffs.
I know,
So
that's
the
what I'm
$1,000
saying. I'd
plus
give you the same as I give River Bluffs.
No, he's making, no, Mayor, he basically what he's saying is that he's offering us the same opportunity for our group
Okay,
to be able to do this. So we're, he's offering this opportunity. So that's why we're going to send it out to everybody that's in this group. And I think it was a great opportunity for all of us.
Mhm.
We're grateful that Dan, thank you so much for,
Yeah,
for taking the
indeed.
time
Yeah,
on a
thank you.
Tuesday night. We appreciate you coming out and, giving all of us this information. Obviously, I have it recorded. I'm going to just stop the recording because